All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Math Puzzle Crash Course. I got a simple problem here. It's about the area of a circle. And the problem states that the radius of a circle is 5 meters. Um, what is the area of the circle in square meters? So you've got a diagram here of the circle with the radius of 5 meters. Now, if you remember, the formula is A equals pi r squared. So if you'd like to, go ahead and try to solve that on your own, you can, and we'll come back and try to figure this out together. All right, if you remember, the area of a circle is represented by this above equation. It's pi r squared, where r represents the radius of the circle. Pi represents, it's a symbol for pi. It's a mathematical constant, and what that's based on is based on the ratio of a circle's circumference. That's the distance around the outside of a circle. It's the ratio of the circle's circumference to its diameter. If you remember, the diameter would be twice the radius. So if a radius of a circle is 5 meters, well, then from one side of the circle to the other would be 10 meters, so it's just double that. So pi is approximately equal to 3.14159. Actually, its decimal representation never ends. It just keeps going on and on and on. But it's pretty close to 3.14159. So based on this information that we've got, the solution is, so if you use 3.14159 for pi, you're going to multiply that by the square of 5, because the radius is 5, so it's 5 squared, which 5 squared is 25. 5 squared is the same as 5 times 5. So you've got 3.14159 times 25. So the answer you should come up with, and I've got this out to quite a few decimal places. That's not necessary. You could have 78.6 if you were rounding it up, or 78.5 if you're actually rounding down. Somewhere around 78.5 meters squared. So yeah, fairly simple problem. Now, if that was simple, I mean, you could end the video here if you'd like. What I've got to say next, it's more of a rant. Concerning the Order of Operations Convention. And the only reason I'm getting into this is because I've seen a lot of forums where people keep constantly claiming that back in their day they were taught left to right. Or if you don't have parentheses, then you just solve left to right. If you don't have brackets or parentheses. I keep hearing all these myths. So the next part of this is a rant. If you're not interested in the rant, you can end the video now. But what I run into a lot is many people will falsely claim that they were taught to solve left to right and ignore order of operations. Many will say, "Oh, well, in my day it was this way, or it's the old school way to go left to right, or my teachers back in the 50s or the 60s or the 70s taught us, left to right." And what I gotta say, it's a tired and overused excuse. And it's made by people who've forgotten what they were taught, or they never understood it in the first place. And but I keep seeing this excuse over and over and over, and then I'll see people go, "Oh yeah, same with me. Yeah, I was taught left to right too." And I don't believe any of it. I mean, nobody's ever been able to show a textbook. It's never been left to right. The order of operations is older than anybody living, practically. It's been around for hundreds of years. It's been in textbooks, for all of your lifetimes. So this is not true at all. Ancient civilizations, including the Egyptians and Babylonians, had accurate approximations for pi, and they used those in practical applications thousands of years ago. So for people to start claiming, "Oh, well, we learned left to right," and you can look at the formula for the area of a circle. All the people that are claiming this left to right bunk, Look at the formula for the area of a circle. Okay, you do not multiply pi by the radius and then square that result. Even the formula for the area of a circle uses the order of operations. It's pi r squared, which pi r squared is the same thing as saying r squared pi, but you never see it. I don't care where you look. The area of a circle is not ever shown as a equals r squared pi. It's always written as a equals pi r squared, because the assumption for hundreds and for thousands of years is that people have understand the order of operations and they know that exponents are solved before multiplication. So, for anybody who has forgotten, or maybe if you're one of the people who thinks you were taught left or right, there's always been four steps to the order of operations convention. And depending on where you live, sometimes brackets could be called parentheses. Orders might be referred to as exponents, indices, etc. But your basic four steps have always been number one, parentheses or brackets. If you're in the UK, they use BODMAS. I've seen BEDMAS, BIDMAS. North America, it's typically PEMDAS as one of the acronyms used. But I'm not really a fan of those acronyms because a lot of people memorize 6 letters and think there's 6 steps. There's only 4 steps. It's parentheses or brackets, number one. If you don't have any, you go on to exponents. If you look at the area of a circle, you have exponents, r squared. The two, you're raising it. It's an order. We are using exponents in the area of a circle. And then multiplication. We have multiplication after that. We're multiplying by pi with the area of a circle. So after exponents, we have multiplication in that formula. Now keep in mind, multiplication and division have equal precedence. You solve them left to right. Multiplication does not come before division. Division does not come before multiplication. They have equal precedence. Just remember that division is multiplying by a reciprocal. Basically the same operation. And then the fourth step is addition and subtraction left to right. And again, addition and subtraction have equal precedence. A lot of people memorizing, one of those acronyms will think that addition comes before subtraction, which is ridiculous. Subtraction's nothing more than the addition of a negative number. So just remember these 4 steps. So in this problem for the area of a circle, again, we're using exponents for the radius. We're raising r to the power of 2. Exponents have precedence, again, over multiplication in that problem. That's why we're solving r squared before we multiply by pi. So just remember, exponents are just repeated multiplication. It's a shorthand for multiplication. Think of it as a shorthand. It's easier to write 8 to the 6th power than it would be to write 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. They're both the same thing, but one's easier to write than the other. It's a shorthand. Uh, you know, the Egyptians calculated the area of a circle. Pi's been known for almost 4,000 years. Um, Babylonians, I think, approximated pi to about 3. They just used 3. And so they would multiply that by the square of the radius to approximate. My point is, my hope is that all the excuses about ignoring the order of operations convention will stop. It's not new math. It's been around forever. So, the next time somebody tries to claim that they were taught left to right in their day, just ask them. Say, if that's true, please explain the area of a circle, and please explain that formula, because it just it shoots holes into that theory that well in my day it was left to right. So yeah, I apologize for the rant, but it's kind of been overdue. It's kind of been on my nerves with some of these forums. So yeah, my hope is just to stop the excuses. And people need to understand that yeah, there's always been an order of operations. You were taught that in elementary school if you're in North America, in the UK, I think it's primary school. It may have been decades since you learned it, but I guarantee you were taught it. The only other reason would be if you had incompetent mathematics teachers. because there was no other way, there's no other textbooks that teach it differently. So, enough of the rant. Hope to catch everybody in the next video. See you later.